we were passing Wittstock and Pritzwalk, and I remember that we were passing also a place, Friedrichsruhe, which is close to Schwerin. But Friedrichsruhe was something like 5 kilometers from us, okay? This was a country road. And when we were about 2 kilometers from Schwerin, there were some German tanks and cars, going from the west to the east because of the approaching American army, But on the other hand, there were some tanks and the cars, coming from the east to the west because they tried to escape the Red Army. And they met around 2 kilometers from Schwerin. They met together, they shouted at each other, you have to give way, no, you have to give way. They could not pass. The road was very small, they could not pass each other, And then the SS men, the SS guards, they discovered that this is the end. This is the end, so they led us to a forest, very close by Schwerin, after about half an hour, the SS guards have disappeared. Like a magic, they have completely disappeared. So I looked here, I looked there, there are no guards anymore. And at the same time, I heard some screaming on the road close by. So I just went there with my colleagues, and we learned, that was liberation. That was that, simply as that. And that was on the 3rd of May. I remember it very well because this was the National Polish Day. 3rd of May is National Polish Day. So, what to do? I was very hungry. So I tried to find some food. There was a column of German army cars, So I entered the cars to find some food, but there was no food. There were some books, Ludette, something like that, but nothing, no food at all. So I said, well, two of my colleagues and I, we said, we go to Schwerin, what to do. And on the way to Schwerin, there was a bar open. Can you imagine that? In that situation, there was a bar open. So I said, well, I was exhausted, of course. So I went there and I told him, I need some food. And he probably understood. So he gave me a can like that, but unfortunately of pork. But I ate it up, it's normal, I have some food, I eat it up. I should not have done it. I should not have done it. But in any case, we, in the evening, we didn't have any place to sleep. So I just found a ditch somewhere, and went to sleep, and was sleeping there. In the morning, I found 2 girls close by to me. They had no place to sleep either, They were also prisoners, And in the morning we were 3. But in any case, when I came out, the Americans were there. They were already Americans, and they were leading many German prisoners of war. Many, but a long column of German prisoners. But in any case, I went to the American kitchen, military kitchen, and I got some bread, some coffee, and this. And then this was the liberation, But after the liberation, we had to stay somewhere, And there is a lake in Schwerin, just outside Schwerin, and there were some huts, for gardening and this sort of thing. So 2 of my friends and I, we say, well, we stay here for the moment. Let's see, nobody is there, we stay there. And the morning after, my stomach refused the pork, and I was very ill, I can tell you that. I could not walk myself, so they took me to hospital, which was not very far away from the lake, the German hospital, And after some few days, they put me together. And I was sorry because I told them I have no money. But they did the work, They did the work, They put me together, and that was it. And then when I came out from the hospital, you should know, that there was agreement in Tehran. Who is going to take what of Germany, So the Americans should be there, the British should be there, the Red Army should be there, and this. So when I came out from the hospital, they told me, look, you are going to be taken to Lübeck if you want to, and not by the Americans but by the British. So they took us on the trucks, and took us to the Lübeck, Then. And we stayed in Lübeck without money, but there was some sort of we were, let's say, lodged in a former SS Kaserne. So there were one-room apartments, for the SS men, and we were lodged in those. And across the street there was a kitchen, military kitchen, so we could have food, So in this way we survived, but we had no money, no nothing, And we still had the clothes, exactly, yes. But one day, of course, I was not completely, I have not completely recovered from my, and there was a Swedish Red Cross who said, those prisoners who need to recover, we take them to Sweden. So I jumped on the car immediately, This I can tell you later, this was a paradise in Sweden, So they took me by boat, by Red Cross, Swedish Red Cross boat, to Trelleborg, in the south of Sweden, And then after a couple of weeks of quarantine, and changing clothes and this sort of thing, we were distributed to work, So this was, let's say, the situation after the liberation.